Hi, Skip.
Hey,
Welcome to the
Tracy.
Adapt and Dive webinar with Skip Archimedes. Actually, I know Skip since 2013, and he was invited to our keynote to be our keynote speakers for our World Veteran Congress in 2013 in Kuala Lumpur. Skip, was I the first Asian that you know, or was it the first time you came to KL?
Yeah, it was the first time and it was a beautiful experience. So I thank you for welcoming me out to KL because it was amazing.
Yeah, and then he has made our conference so alive and very successful. Subsequently, in 2014, I have invited Skips to work with our mentors to organize health-related events like Forever Young Retreats, Breakthrough Mastery, and Supercharge Your Life for at least 5 years. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
And together with Skip and Well Mentors, we have transformed many lives. And 2 years ago, Skip went down under Australia to pursue his other passion. I'm glad that Skip, you are coming back to your real passion again.
Yes.
And Skip, with the now the coronavirus has infected the whole world. Many people now dying every single minute or even second. And everyone is in the panic mode. And Skip, I know your mission is to bring back energy, positivities, achievements, health and vitality into lives of those who have lost the focus along the way. So I would like Skips to share with you over his 20 years of experience and research that you have discovered that we should be living healthy, vibrant, fulfill life. Fulfill our lives up to and beyond 100 years old, right? Aaron always said that he wants to live up to 120 years old, and likewise. And you also mentioned the same thing. And I'm happy that all of you are joining us this afternoon on live webinars and in learning how to take back your life by activating your mind and your body that you have created. And this is you have unstoppable attitudes and you can create your successful life again. So Skip, gymnastic is your first love, right?
Yes.
So gymnastic has brought you glories and also flame. But at the same time, gymnastic also bring you down to the rock bottom. So you have won the youngest British gymnastic champion title. You are tipped to be the youngest male to go Olympic. Was it true?
Yeah, when I was 11, and one of my gymnastic coaches, he said, you carry on like this. He goes, you'll be one of the youngest kids to go to the Olympics for gymnastics. But what I learned is, and not long after that, I started winning these competitions. I went to my primary school and they had me say that in front of the assembly. And I became a little bit of a hero at school, and it was nice to have that attention. It was nice to be able to do things like handstands and backflips and walking on my hands and doing all these fun things, because it connected with me people in a better way than I had connected with the people before. And shortly after that, about 2 weeks after that, my mum goes and leaves my dad for my gymnastics coach. So my dad said, that's it, son, no more gymnastics. And that was where my first challenge came in, because I was riddled with a lot of diseases, a lot of illnesses when I was a kid. So I understand what it's like to be on drugs all the time, to be on antibiotics all the time. That was my life. I was covered from head to toe with eczema, chronic asthma, allergies to everything. So my physical body was always breaking down. And then from about 11 to 18, my weight went up and down. My emotions was up and down. My life was not in balance whatsoever. And I just started to do something which is not so weird nowadays, but I started talking to the universe, and I just started asking questions, and it's like, how the hell can I be someone who enjoys life? How can I live in a body I was proud of? Because my body was breaking down, and it wasn't strong, it wasn't balanced, it was completely, I was really disrespecting this thing that I live in. And this is part of the challenge that a lot of people are going through at the moment, without themselves even knowing it. And the only message that I kept receiving was, you've got to go and do what you love. And this is the same for everybody. We've got a chance now where people can really tune into themselves and find out what it is that they truly, truly love. And back then for me, it was gymnastics, and it didn't make sense it didn't make logical sense in the mind, because at 18 years old, most people are giving up gymnastics, not going back to it. And when I made that decision of, if I don't do this, I think I'm going to spend the rest of my life wondering what would have happened if I did do it. So I went back, I lost the weight, I went back to gymnastics and found a coach who is now one of the British coaches, and did a year with him. But I wasn't doing what I wanted to be doing. I wasn't doing the moves I should be doing. I was nowhere near competition standard. And again, my mind wasn't being my best friend. And one day in the gym, I was swinging around a high bar and was doing a dismount from the high bar, and I let go from the bar a millisecond too late. And instead of going away from the bar, I went up and over and boom, landed straight on the bar, and get diagnosed with a broken back and get told I'm never going to walk again. And that really for me was where my journey began, because what I truly believe is, the bigger the challenge that we all get to face in life, the bigger this opening happens. And when we go through that opening, when we go through that portal, there's always a blessing on the other side. And this is what people have the chance to do now, is to adapt, is to become more. And the reason why I was saying that was, even though I got told I was never going to walk again, there was a time when I didn't want to speak to people. I didn't want to be around anybody. I stopped eating at certain points. And I just didn't understand why I was in this game of life. I didn't understand what I was supposed to be, who I was supposed to be. I was so lost and depressed, and just life was heavy. And when you don't think you're ever going to move again, you're ever going to walk again, the mind really plays tricks on you. Well, that's what it did to me. And what's happening for a lot of people at the moment, even though they might not be confined to a machine, they're kind of confined to their houses. And what it's going to bring up is what we have been programmed with. And what I was programmed with was a lot of destruction. And that was normality. You know, that was just being a normal person. Negative thoughts, negative emotions. And when Mum came in one time and she said, look, I don't think it's over. I found someone, he broke his back and he came back fitter and stronger than before. He ended up becoming a legend around the world and inspired millions of people. I was like, who are you talking about? She goes, Bruce Lee. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake, Mum. I said, he's a movie star. It's not real. Just get out. Leave me alone. And she says, no, I'm not giving up. This is real. And she said, you're going to find a way through this. And when I started to study Bruce Lee, what he amazingly opened me up to, and this is really what I base all my teachings on, is his philosophy is, we get to experience life in 3 different modalities. We get to experience life through the body, we get to experience life through the mind, and we get to experience life through our spirit, like where we can have this childlike spirit that can just be free within us. And not one of those is more holier than the other. And when we learn how to feed and nourish each part of what we are, then all of a sudden, miracles can start to be born through us. And that's literally what started to happen to me. I started to walk again without any operations, without any surgery, and ended up going back to gymnastics and got the English Sports Acrobatics Championship title. Yeah,
great. And now, before that, I'd like to ask questions that everybody waiting for. I like to, I want to read a disclaimer. It's very important. The webinar, it's okay. The webinar cannot and does not contain health advice. The health information is provided for general information and educational purpose only, and is not a substitute for professional health advice. Accordingly, before taking any actions based upon such information, we encourage you to consult with the appropriate medical and health professional. We do not provide any kind of health advice. The use of or relies on any information contained in this webinar is solely at your own risk. Skip, Archimedes, and Tracy Wong are not medical professionals. We are not trading or diagnosing anyone in this talk. The information provided here comes from Skip Archimedes' experience and those of other people who attend Skip's training. So before we begin, many of you may be invited by your friends. You do not know who is Well Mentors. I'm going to play a very 2-minute short video of who we are and what are the things we have worked with Skip before. Yeah. Hi, I'm Tracy Wong, co-founder of Well Mentors and trainer for achieving higher consciousness. Some of you may know me from the programs Secrets to Living the Law of Attraction and Manifesting Miracle. I've experienced incredible miracles and success in my life by raising my vibrational energy with amazing results. And now I want to pass on this knowledge and insight to you. My life is a living testimony that the law of attraction works, and I have witnessed its transformation power without trying too hard. Since 2003, Wealth Mentors has brought in speakers and programs that are compassionate, life-changing, inspiring, and enriching. One such speaker is Skip Archimedes. Many know him as the Miracle Man. Since young, Skip has survived many medical challenges. At the peak of his gymnastic career, he suffered a serious back injury and was even told by many doctors he will never walk again. Skip now travels all around the world to help others live better and healthiest life. Yes, Skip, I put these pictures. This was the first interview that I did with you in 2014. Remember that? It was beautiful in, I think, Furama Hotel. Yeah. So, beside the adapt or die, I just want to ask you these questions. What do you mean? Adapt beautiful question. Or die?
So, when we look at, let's go back to nature first, because I think that nature really provides the solution and how we can start to live in harmony. All the species that are on the planet at the moment are not necessarily the ones that have the most intelligence. It's the ones that adapt fastest to their environment. So with what's going on around the whole COVID-19, the whole coronavirus wave that's literally going across the whole planet at the moment, if we don't learn how to adapt fast, then we can die emotionally, we can die mentally, we could die, some are dying physically, we can die financially. If you're in business, again now, if you don't adapt, then really what can happen is businesses can go out of business. Like if we look at Blockbusters, who owned pretty much the world when it came to DVDs and video rentals, that they cornered the market globally, and a small company called Netflix said, hey, we got this idea, we think that everyone's going to go online and we've got the solution, would you like to buy our company? And it was for a small amount of money, and they said, no, we don't want to buy, this is how we do it. And they didn't adapt, they wasn't flexible, and they said, look, and they pushed harder against the online world. And you can't stop some waves that happen, because it's for the expansion, it's for growth. And life is always looking to breathe more life, and that's just the nature of life. We look at how things evolve, we look at things in nature, we look at humanity. So if we don't adapt, if we don't become flexible, then at some area in our life we're going to experience death. And we don't want to experience that. When we become flexible, when we can learn to adapt with the times, then what we do is we stay in flow of life. Like if you look at the lights behind me now, this whole game of life is around energy, and energy is going to win every single time. But we've got to learn where to focus that energy, because there can be positive energy and there can be toxic energy. And what a lot of people are experiencing at the moment is they're experiencing a lot of mental torment. They're experiencing a lot of emotional torment. So we've got to learn how to really adapt and be flexible through these times. And what I've learned is that if we can make the body more flexible, that can have a positive effect on the mind becoming flexible, because the mind, the body, and the spirit, all these things are connected. And when we learn how to activate ourselves in the right way, then all of a sudden we can go into these higher states of consciousness. And from those places, we start making better decisions, and we can get back in the driving seat of our life, because now there are going to be some winners come out of this, and there are going to be some losers come out of this. And if we just stay rigid in the way that we thought life was going to be, and we think, oh, in a month or two, life is going to go back to just be the same as it was, it's not. This is a time of change, and we've got to learn how to move with the changes. Otherwise, we are going to get hit hard at some level.
Yeah. Skip, for today's session, my main objective is to, you see, children never get affected by coronavirus because children has the antidotes inside them. As we go older, our antidotes also diminishing. I just want you this session to share with them how we can, how do we get back our antidotes that we already have inside us. This is the main objective of these topics, because coronavirus is dangerous, but it's not vicious. They only attack the people who are weak and also arrogant. You know, the arrogant, they don't respect the coronavirus. That's why they get hit the hardest. So I want you to share on the main thing on the this 1 full hours. I want you to how we can bring back our defense system, our immune system, so that even the people who are connected with you, the coronavirus infected person will not get to you so easily. So this is not just one question. This is the whole 1 hour talk. So my next question is, what do you think people need to focus about this coronavirus phase, in this phase?
So, and I just want to honor what you said, Tracy, because this is the subject now that I truly believe, because this is the truth, because in the truth, we always find freedom. And the truth is, we are the antidote to the coronavirus. When we understand the truth that, and this may be a little bit weird for some people to understand, but there are different frequencies in this game of life. Like if I blow a dog whistle, humans are not going to hear the whistle, a dog will. So that noise goes into a certain frequency. And there are many frequencies, and as humans, we get to experience, say, life through this frequency, but there's a frequency up here, there's a frequency down here. Just like if we're listening to a radio and we don't like the song, what do? We turn the frequency, or we press a button and we tune into a different frequency, then we can get a new song. The beautiful thing about humans is we can tune in to frequencies that is beyond where most people have experienced in life. And as we start to give the body what it needs, when we start to give the mind what it needs, when we start to allow this creativity to breathe through us in a way where we're not going to stop the challenges, but when we can have a challenge come in and we can accept what is going on, and we then go and create something, because we're creative beings and we create something with love, we create something with passion. Again, all of this stuff, it starts to raise our frequency up. Now, why is this important to learn about frequencies? Because a virus, and it doesn't matter whether they call it SARS, it doesn't matter whether they call it coronavirus, because just like humans, viruses are going to keep evolving. They're going to, because it's their journey, it's their path through life. But any type of virus is in a very, very low frequency. Now, the only ones who are going to get affected in life are the humans who come down to the frequency where the viruses play out their game of life. Now, what would take us into a low frequency? The biggest thing is fear. Now, we have to understand this, that we're all, because there's so much uncertainty going on around the world at the moment, that everybody is now looking for some level of certainty. And where is most people going? To the news. We have to understand this truth. First of all the news channels is not created to heal people. It's not created to heal the world. They're created for viewers. They're created for statistics, because there are CEOs that run these companies. And if their ratings go down, that CEO is going to be booted out, and they'll bring in another CEO because they want their ratings to go up. And as far as the news channels goes, they've got more eyeballs on their stories now than ever before in human history. The whole world is now looking at the news. But the challenge with that is, usually when we see the news, our frequency starts to come down, and it comes down, and it comes down. And what they'll put on the news, oh, this celebrity now has the virus. Oh, this member of parliament now has it. this person now, and they just, oh, now it's not older people, now it's younger people. They're just looking for the headlines. Now, the truth is, it doesn't matter whether it's a virus, a cancer, a diabetes, there are people dying from all these diseases around the world. So this conversation is beyond coronavirus, but because of the coronavirus, we've now got more eyeballs on potentially finding out the truth. Because we, inside our body, we have something called an immune system. And what our immune system does is the immunity, whenever an infection comes in, whenever there's a virus that comes in, whenever there's an ailment, anything that is foreign to the human system, whenever that comes in, if the body's defenses are in balance, and it's just normal, Tracy, you know, health is our birthright. But the challenge is, so many people are sacrificing their health for wealth. So many people sacrifice their health when they start stressing out, when they start getting into arguments, when they start getting toxic. So many people are putting food in their body, which is dead food or it's processed food. And that now drains the body of energy. And because that energy is now being used to try and get that dead food out of the body, the immune system goes down. And as soon as that immune system goes down, if there's a virus there, guess what? The virus can come in and it can get you. But this is what's natural, Tracy. When our immune system is normal, and let's say the virus comes in, the way that our body will have all these, it's got all these antibodies. We've got these defense mechanisms within the body. And let's say that this is the virus. As soon as it goes in the body, the defenses in the body, it will grab onto it and it will go, hey, I got it, I got it, I got it, because it's just doing its job. It's like if you go and throw a bone for a dog and the dog runs for the bone and it comes back waggling its tail and goes, I got the bone, and you throw it again and you're now playing a game. These viruses will not be killing the people who are in balance, whose immunity is just working at the normal level. So what happens is, as the virus comes in, our body's defense mechanisms will go and grab it, and then another one will grab it, and another one will grab it. And before you know it, bam, it's out the system before we've even noticed it. And this is why they're saying there are going to be carriers, and the carriers could run the risk of passing this virus on to somebody who could be at risk of this virus, then obviously taking them down and, you know, God forbid, you know, killing them. So all we've got to have the focus on now is what can we be doing to boost up our immunity. It's the most important thing that we should be focusing on right now.
Yeah, and actually this lockdown period is the best time for us to restore our health. 100%. And then because a lot of activities also quiet down, you cannot do a lot of things. And especially me, I used to travel like crazy. I spend very little time in my house, and most of the time I sleep in the hotel room. Now I have the chance to really quiet down my mind, do the things I love to do, and spend a lot of time with the family. And this is the best time to cleansing yourself, your body and the mind and the soul. And also building a very good relationship with your family. And I told Aaron, I said, this during lockdown period, I don't want you to eat anything outside. In fact, we cook every single meals. So we really enjoy, and then it's very fortunate that and Aaron's mom is here with us. We never have spent so long time before. Normally we spend about a week because he stay in Ipoh, we stay in Singapore. Now we had great time. The mom, Aaron's mom is with us for about 2 weeks, and then she will be locked down another maybe 1 or 2 months. And this is great time for us to do something for our life, especially spend a lot of time on educating ourselves. You see, for me, I always believe in law of attraction. It really works for me. And then I achieve a lot of miracles in my life. And then I realized that law of attraction, the most important thing about law of attraction is to building your vibrational energy. Everything is energy in the wave. So as you build up your energy, everything goes well. You're at the right place at the right time. You are also attracting the good people, noble people into your life. And then when you are in the low energy, like vice versa, you also attract people that give you problem, borrow money, hurting you, cheating you. And especially in sales or in other things, you are a good vibrational energy, you can close sales to everybody that you see. You are in good bad vibrational energy. At the same time, you also even how skillful in your sales speech, but you cannot close it. I seen it before. Some of my colleagues, and in certain times, they are so expert in their sales, but certain times they do so well. Certain times is that everybody they spoke to can't close the sales. The reason behind is the vibrational energy. Yeah. So 100%. You mentioned the body, the mind, and the spirits as the three areas that we experience life through. So what can we do for each one of them so that we can live better lives?
Beautiful question. So first of all, let's start with the body, because this is like when I got reconnected with my body and I realized that, and by the way, when I told that story about me coming back from the broken back and winning the gold medal at the English Championships, this is what I want people to understand. I'm just a human like everybody else. We are all the miracle. The union of the body, the mind, and the spirit coming together. This is such a beautiful gift. And and I want to share some beautiful things now that we can start to give the body. And it's not rocket science, Tracy. It's almost like we've forgotten how to live in the 21st century. We've got so disconnected from the truth. And so what we've got to do is, the first thing is the body was created to move. And we've got to move the body. A lot of people now, they're just being stuck in front of a TV, in front of a laptop, in front of a computer, in front of a phone, and they're not moving the body. If you go back and do some research to look at how humans all around the world were moving their bodies 200 years ago, oh my God, so different to what people are doing now, because energy creates energy. So when we start moving the body in fun ways, and it doesn't matter what it is, it could be dancing. You know, someone could be at home and they can go and bung on one of their favorite songs and they can just get up and dance. They can do some circuit training. They can run up and down the stairs. It doesn't matter what the movement is, so long as the body moves, because the thing that makes the body weak is decreased workload. When we start to put a demand on the body, all of a sudden, muscles are going to start to form. All of a sudden, strength is going to start to come in. And when we get strength in the physical body, what do we think that does to the mind? It now gives us a strong mind, because we've got to because affecting the body can be the easiest thing. Because if we look at children are moving their bodies all the time. Children have this abundance of energy. Children learn faster than most adults. Children are in the moment more than most adults. Children are speaking the truth more than most adults. So all of those qualities. And by the way, children they learn faster than most adults now. So if we can take some of them qualities back, that if parents are in the houses now with children, look at what the children are doing naturally. You're not teaching this stuff. And in fact, a lot of the adults are going, will you stop doing that? They're trying to drain the energy out of the children, which it shouldn't be that way. What they've got to learn how to do is focus the energy. So when we move our bodies in fun ways, our creator installed in us a mechanism, and it has to be fun. This is the secret ingredient. If it's not fun, it's not going to be sustainable. When we move our body in fun ways, these endorphins, they get released from the mind. It sends a chemical out throughout the whole system, and we literally feel good. So the first thing I want to challenge people to do today is to get moving their bodies. They've got to get moving their body, and they've got to find fun ways, because then that way you're going to do it again and again and again. Like this morning, literally just before I came on this call, we did it at, we were live out in Bali, a festival that's running in Bali at the moment. We were live with a whole group of people, and it was fancy dress yoga. I got everyone all around the world to dress in fancy dress, and we're now going through yoga. And why would we do that? Because it's fun, because we're stretching out the body. So basically what happens is, when we are moving the body in fun ways, we start to let go of aches and pains. We start to let go of stiffness, and we start to bring in flexibility, because a body that doesn't move is going to get stiffer and weaker and with low energy. So that's on the movement side. So movement was key, because the body was created to move. The second thing is a year from now, this is what people need to understand, how miraculous. Every single person who's watching this now, you are the miracle, because what's happening is you're made of anything from 50 to 100 trillion cells. Now, your cells transfer from all the information that's in one cell, all that information that gets transferred into a new cell, and this one dies off and gets pushed out the body. So what does this mean? We're regenerating all the time. So a year from now, most of the cells that are in our body are brand new cells, brand new. Now, the challenge is, how are we evolving? Are we evolving as a lesser version of ourselves and breaking down as we get older? Because that's what happens to a lot of people. Or are we evolving into a better version of ourselves? Because when people say, well, hang on a minute, Skip, there's a thing called aging. And when I start to get older, I start to get these aches and pains. I start, things start shutting down. I'm like, no, 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 no. You're not getting older. You're getting toxic. So what's creating the toxins in the body? Our thoughts, our emotions, and also what we put in the body. So a lot of people are putting dead stuff in the body. They're putting processed stuff in the body. They're putting stuff in the body that starts to create acid. And if that acid comes from a food or a drink or a substance, and that acid keeps getting into our blood, what happens is every time our heart beats to do what? It beats to deliver oxygen, nutrients, and water all around the body to the trillions of cells that make up our physical body. So as our heart beats, if we've taken in stuff that hasn't got nature in it, if nature didn't make it, it's not natural. So what happens is we're taking this stuff in that's dead. They're taking this stuff in that's creating acid in the body, and our heart is beating, and all of a sudden our blood should be our river of life, but it becomes our river of death. So what we've got to have the awareness of is, what are we consuming? Are we consuming foods that have life force energy in it? Now, what do I mean by this? I mean food that has had the sun shining on it. There would be no life on planet Earth if it wasn't for that incredible thing in the sky called the sun. Now, what that sun does is it beams down light. It beams down energy. It beams down information so that all life can be experienced on planet Earth on this physical plane. Now, what happens then is the plants capture that food, and that's now connected to the planet, and the planet is alive as well. So the planet starts to feed it energy. It starts to feed it life. When we pick that at the right time and we put it inside the body, not only are we putting life in the body, but we're putting light energy in the body. We're putting nourishment that when you take it in, the body goes, oh my God, thank you so much. But the challenge is, there isn't an instant satisfaction with that most people are now used to. Most people are used to something sugary. Most people are used to something with the wrong salts in or the wrong fats in. And what happens is they want that instant satisfaction. And usually instant satisfaction comes from things like sugar. And that sugar is going to literally create acid in the body. If we take, and a lot of people are not going to want to hear this, if we take animal products into the body, those animal products create acid. And especially if it's meat, that concentrated meat, it's a concentrated protein. It's the hardest food for the body to break down. So what happens is, consuming food can literally drain the body of energy. Food shouldn't be draining the body of energy, because we want as much energy as we can coming into the body. So when we start to have more fruits, more vegetables, more seeds, more nuts, those types of things, then we start to add more life back into the body. So that's the body. Then with the mind, first of all, we've got to stop the poisoning. That does go for the physical body as well. And to me, a lot of the poisoning is coming from what people are choosing to watch, what people are choosing to do. And everyone knows, if we're watching, let's say we're watching a soap opera, and what a soap opera is built on, drama. So when we watch this drama on TV, people are sitting there watching and going, my God, look how bad their lives are. My God, at least our lives aren't as bad as theirs. But what they don't realize is that they're paid actors. It's like, why would you want to absorb more drama? We want to get rid of the drama and start to find the balance and the harmony. So that's the mind. Is we've got to really make sure that what we're absorbing every day in the mind is something that's going to allow us to grow and expand and become more. Because if we look at children, part of the reason why children have so much energy is they absorb and learn so fast. And the learning curve, if you look for a lot of people, we, as kids, we start learning, and we're going up. But then we kind of leave university, we get into a job, we get married, and the whole learning curve starts to go down. And people start to literally fall down this hill, and they don't, and they create so much momentum going down this hill that they just go on this downward spiral in life, going down and down and down. So learning, making sure that every single day we're either listening to something that we find that we have an interest in, that allows us to learn and grow and become more. Because if we don't learn and grow and become more every single day, I can tell you this, Tracy, a part of us feels like it's dying. And what's that part? That's our soul. That's our spirit. Because our spirit is free, and our spirit, and this is not me getting weird or woo-wooey, but let me explain a very simple way to understand spirit, because people can go into different religions and all this. Now, what we should do, if you are religious, now we're understanding where humanity's at. We should all be coming together as one human race, as brothers and sisters. That's what should be happening right now. And when we look at, say, like, we've got all these like technology devices. Now, on these, we've all got these smartphones. When we used to be able to go around people's houses, what would be one of the first things that we would ask when we would go around a friend's or family's house? We'd say, hey, have you got the Wi-Fi code? And why would we want to ask for the Wi-Fi code? So we can get connected to people around the world. And connection is a natural thing for humanity. Because when we are in these loving vibes, love is the glue that glues our whole universe together. We see it out in nature with animals. We see it with humanity. But if that love isn't in the mix, then there's no way we can go to these higher frequencies. So our soul, I relate it to Wi-Fi, because the reason why we're asking for the Wi-Fi code is so we can upload or download things or get connected with people around the world. Now, Wi-Fi wasn't on this world 30 years ago, probably not even 20 years ago. So 30 years ago, 22 years ago. So it's a very new concept. Yeah. Now,
I still remember when we started, the Wi-Fi was very, very, very slow. Yeah.
So we were introducing technology in a way what planet Earth had never experienced this before. And the reason why it's happening is because we're growing and expanding our consciousness. Now, with Wi-Fi, let me ask you this question. It's something that we use every single day. Can we see it? No.
Can
we touch it?
No.
No. Can we feel it?
No.
Can we smell it? No.
No.
So it's something non-visible and it's non-physical, but yet we use it every single day. So what it shows is that there's a lot of stuff out there in life which we think is space, but what's in the space is life. And when we can learn how to open ourselves up to have more of this life breathing through us, when we get that soul, that spirit, that life breathing through us, then all of a sudden our mind changes, our body changes, and we start to do things in the moment that's in the flow with life, instead of having life hit us and we're resistant and we're trying to push against life. We've got to learn how to surrender. We've got to learn how to be vulnerable. And when we can really learn how to accept this truth, then different things are going to start to get born through us. And every single one of the people who are watching this now, all I want to say is more life is trying to breathe through every single one who's watching this. But if there's resistance in the mind, it doesn't get into our awareness. If there's resistance in the body, it doesn't come into our awareness. And what's happening with a lot of the choices that people are making in today's world is their body is becoming number and number and number and number, and they stop feeling. And one of the things that Bruce Lee taught me was don't think, feel. Now that's an easy thing to say, but it's not so easy for people to do, because we are these thinking machines. We think all the time. But the truth is, we've got this thing here called not just a tummy, but we got a gut feeling. We have this thing called intuition, where we can be intuitive. We can start to feel into what's right or wrong. And I can tell you now, your gut feeling, your intuition is never, ever, ever going to let you down, because it's your internal guidance system. Just like we on these things, if we're going out in one of our cars, we put our destination and maps come up and we start in a certain place and we follow the dot and we go all the way to our destination. All of us have come to this planet. And again, this might be a hard pill for people to swallow, Tracy, but it is the truth, so I have to share it. All of us have jumped into these physical bodies at this particular time in human history, knowing the challenges that planet Earth was facing with humanity. Because at the moment, what's happened for humanity is, and I don't want to get too caught up in this, but we've almost become like parasites to the planet, where humanity, we're meant to be the most phenomenal species on the face of the planet, but we're the only species that's now contributing to its own destruction. And this is science saying this now. If humanity carries on living the way we are, there's going to be no sea life and no life under the water in the sea by 2048. That's not far away. That's not a long way. So this is not like some weirdo saying this. This is actual science. So what happens if we kill life under the sea? What's going to happen to the ecosystem? We're literally killing the environment that we live in. So the first thing that I found is that when we tune into our inner environment and we can start to connect to that truth that's within us, because we all have the answers within us. The challenge is most of us don't know how to go within properly to be able to bring the answers out so that we can start to express life through what it is that we're creating. So when we tune into this truth within ourselves, we tune into a higher power. We tune into this supreme intelligence. And when we can have that breathing through us, our personal life, our business life, our body, our mind, our relationships, everything changes because everything's connected. And we've all heard about the oneness, but you can only fully understand the oneness when you are at peace with yourself, where you fall madly in love with yourself. But what you start to create in your life is that the actions that you take, the habits that you form, they're life-giving, not life-taking. And even when we look at certain relationships, you know, we go into certain relationships, certain people do to take. And if you do that, if you go into to get something, to take something, it's going to be a short-lived relationship. Whereas if you go into life to give, you're going to be amazed at what starts to breathe through you, and creations will come out of you that you haven't even thought of yet. So tuning into this truth through the body, mind, and spirit, I've learned, is the only way that we can win at this game of life.